Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of NYJFTV. I'm one of your hosts, Kevin Sirkin, and we're here live outside of MetLife Stadium right now, joined by Fireman Ed and Rob Carpenter. Now, fellas, it's been a while since we've been in the studio. We're here outside of MetLife now. It's a little bit windy out here, a little cold, but a lot has changed since we've last talked. Jets are 3-5. We're riding a nice little two-game winning streak right now. Is there hope for this team looking at the second half of the season, or is it just inevitable before this ship eventually just completely sinks?
I think there's hope. I mean, what better formula than have the Miami Dolphins? I mean, first off, when we go down to Miami, I think there's going to be more Jet fans than there are Dolphin fans there. I mean, that's proven going this year when you're watching the other teams go in there. There's all kinds of, and New York rolls in there. So I think it's a home field for us, and, I expect the Jets to play well this Sunday. I do think the confidence factor came into play on the second half of that game. I mean, they couldn't have laid more of an egg in Cleveland. I mean, we were there. It was a joke, but they actually showed some heart, starting with Quincy Enunwa, who made the difference. He showed the heart of a champion, He broke 5 tackles for that touchdown. 5. Listen, that guy's the real deal.
Not to mention the interception that he took away. That play saved the game.
Well, there's no doubt about it. I mean, he's a force, and I expect the Jets to play well in Miami. I think they're going to shut down that kid, Jay, whatever his name is. I don't even care. I don't even care. I would just want to hit him. So,
Rob, what are your thoughts, man? Do we still have a shot in the second half?
I think so. The way things going on right now, like Ed said, Quincy, I've been riding Quincy's tail, since the preseason, because you can see talent when it's there. And if it wasn't for him, I think he put a spark in the team with that touchdown for sure. And like you guys mentioned, with him actually saving that interception, that was one of my tweets right there. That's just basically said, if it wasn't for him, that game probably would have been way out of hand. With that one right there. But for the rest of the season, these games are winnable. You just gotta build on what happened in the second half of Cleveland. When guys came out of the locker room in the second half, you could see that there was a different feeling on the team, and it basically showed offense, defense, and special teams abound. So, we can build on that for the rest of the season. Going down to Miami, like Ed said, it usually feels like a home game for the Jets. When you go down to Miami, there's so many Jets fans that live down there. So, hopefully the guys can go down there, build on what's happened in the second half, and take it from there and move on for the rest of the season. There's still a shot. It's a long shot, but it's still a shot.
Now, you guys both kind of touched on it. Sunday was a tale of two halves. First half, they were just completely flat. They were getting picked apart by Josh McCown. Second half, you could definitely see some intensity on the defense. Offense started moving the ball a little bit. I mean, do you walk away from that game more encouraged at the fact that we were able to make the adjustments and correct the mistakes from the first half, or are we still pissed off at the fact that we can't start a game the way we need to?
No, I absolutely am encouraged by what went on in that second half. I blow off the first half. The first half was what it was. The key is that we came back. If you don't come back, or we came back, but then we still lost. No, they came back and they dominated this second half of that game. What me and Rob were just talking about was, Sheldon Richardson. If we have more Sheldon Richardsons on the team, it bothers me so much that his off-the-field stuff has to come into play, because it's evident that he's the best player on the defense. He just is. And he wants to win. Nobody will question Sheldon Richardson wanting to win. We need more Sheldon Richardsons and Quincy Enunwas. That's what we need on this team. And, it's good that we have them on each side of the ball, number one. I would love for Darrelle Revis to just play a little bit. I mean, how about tackling a little bit, Darrelle? I mean, you're saying today that I don't know what you're talking about. Well, of course you know. You're embarrassed. I mean, I don't know if you're hurt. I don't know, because I'm not privy to that. If you're hurt, then maybe you shouldn't be playing, because you can't tackle. I mean, you're literally a phantom tackles. I mean, it's aggravating watching. I'm not a pro ball player, but I played the game. I mean, either play or don't play. Get out of there. Anyway, I think we have a real shot. I really believe that. Like Rob says, is it a long shot? Absolutely, it's a long shot, but it's still a shot. So we'll see. Let's win in Miami, and then let's get back here and see if we can even this thing up.
For the most part, I think, like I said, with Sheldon, that guy is actually probably right now the vocal leader of the team, and I can pretty much see that he's probably calling guys out in the media rooms. He touched on it a couple of weeks ago. He didn't really mention any names, but he did basically say, he's giving 100%, but he knows not everybody's giving 100%. I can picture a few guys that he actually is talking about, and I'm pretty sure that he actually has probably said it or it's been mentioned in the meetings. But going from there, hopefully, for the rest of the season, what we see is that guys actually, pick up on what he's talking about. We know Quincy is one of those guys on offense that doesn't. It seems like Matt Forte has got a little renewed energy, especially when he sees, Bilal Powell taking off on the plays that he gets. And now, exactly, C.J. Spiller's being signed, and, we all know that's one of Chan Gailey's boys. So we know he's probably going to have a quick package of plays, every week going forward if he's healthy. It's good to see guys like Robbie Anderson making plays. I mentioned his name during our early shows. So guys like that get a chance and they, take advantage of the situations that they have. It's good to see, and hopefully, guys can actually, move forward for the rest of the season. Starts this week. We'll see. If they come out flat again, it might not be a good thing because Miami's a little different beast than Cleveland. McCown basically just
He was
washed the Jets in the first half, and it was good to see they came out in the second half and put a stop to that. But we know that Ajayi is a different beast. Landry is a different beast. They do have a really good defensive front seven, so it's going to be a different struggle down there in Miami. But hopefully the guys actually take advantage of the situations that they did take advantage of in the second half of Cleveland and moving forward this week.
All right, so if you guys had to pinpoint the biggest problem for why the Jets just can't get off to a fast start this season, what would you say it is? Because for most of the season, I thought it was the coaching. I pinpointed Todd Bowles, some of the decisions that he was making. But now, after being right behind you on the sidelines, watching some of these guys as they're coming off the field, it almost seems like it's just a lack of leadership on this team. What do you think about that, Ed?
I think on the defensive end of the ball, I think Casey Rogers, they're actually questioning the schemes. I mean, it's evident, sitting there. I don't understand why you can't get the three guys in. I don't understand it. I mean, you're going to tell me that Belichick wouldn't get Sheldon Richardson, Mo Wilkerson, and Leonard Williams in somehow? He wouldn't get them all in there and figure out a scheme? I mean, are we kidding one another here? If it means sitting Stephen McClendon more, then that's what you do. I mean, I don't think that Sheldon Richardson would have any problem playing the nose. I don't think he cares. And if you're stunting, you're going to be able to move them all over the place. So what's the difference? I mean, I don't get it. I don't get what's going on. Anyway, with that being said, listen, I think they'll come out hard on Sunday against Miami. I do believe that because I think it is something that they recognize. I mean, it's evident. They're constantly talking about it. So I expect them to come out on Sunday and play, a hard-fought game. Once again, if we don't turn the ball over, Miami is a fraud. I mean, they're frauds. First off, they beat the Steelers. They didn't have Ben Roethlisberger. So what are we talking about here? And then they beat the Buffalo Bills, and Rex is all over the place. I don't know what's with Rex. 1 minute Rex is playing what? I mean, typical. Listen, forget about that. We got to worry about what we got to worry about. Yeah, and to me, they're frauds. Do I think their offensive line is good? Absolutely not. Now they got Mike Pouncey back. Big deal. The rest of the offensive line is horrible. I expect our defensive to play well against them. And I do believe we'll move the ball on them. I really do. I feel confident about this game, and I love playing the Dolphins, so it's even more so.
So you think the leaders are going to step up this Sunday?
I do. I mean, I think they actually see something. I mean, it's not hard to see. All right, we got out of the route 1-5. Listen, however we did it, it doesn't matter. We're 3-5. We're moving on. You have an opportunity. First off, it's a division game. We can go 2-0 in division. Okay, right there, which is big. Be 4-5 out of this game. We're coming home, playing the Rams. Rams are beatable. So let's win in Miami, and then we'll talk about the Rams, and maybe we can even this thing up, and then we get a bye week. and then we got the almighty the second coming of Christ coming in, right? I mean, God, well, Brady got suspended, so I mean, everybody's afraid now. I mean, I'm not afraid. I wish I could hit him. I want to hit him. Anyway,
Rob?
Well, for the most part, going to Miami, it's a different type of game than last week in Cleveland. Their running game now with Ajayi is totally different now, and I think that's what has transformed Miami around. If they get a lead and Ajayi gets going, it'll be a long day down in Miami. But for the most part, to start games better. It's difficult when, for the last couple of weeks, there's been a question at quarterback. And if the first series doesn't go well, you can see it in the body language of guys coming off the field like, man, here we go again. And I think that was really evident in the pass that Onoma broke up that should have been intercepted. His body language basically said, man, we gotta cut this stuff out.
His body language most of the game.
Yeah. And, when you see a guy like that who is actually putting it all on the line out there in the game, basically for every play, and you know that he's a playmaker, and things aren't going correctly, it's a question of, all right, are we ever going to get out of this? We got to make a change here, or something has to break right for us. So that's when you start to see guys pressing, and that's when mistakes start to happen. Got to try to avoid that as much as possible, but on the defensive side of the ball, I don't know what's going on back there in the defensive backfield, man, to be honest with you, because, the front seven is doing what they have to do. They get pressure. They get sacks. And it's basically been up to the back four to make plays. Now, granted, Gilly has come up with a couple of interceptions the last couple of weeks. The guys are starting to make other plays back there. It's just, injuries have taken place the last few weeks, and I think that hurt a little bit. But, Darrell, I don't really know what's going on with him. Like Ed said, I don't know if he's hurt. He mentioned before that, a couple of weeks ago that he might have been, or that he was a little out of shape coming into camp. His wrist might have had something to do with that, but, as we all say, the guys that have played this game, film don't lie. So, you get in the film room and guys start calling you out like you're not giving 100%. Film's going to tell you. And I think that's basically what's happening. And everybody sees that Darrell is not really giving 100% in everything that he's doing. And it's basically, for me, it's shocking to see the guy that used to play here and the guy that's playing here now.
When he's trying to react to certain plays, they're so slow now. Like, normally you would see him come out of a break. If a receiver made a break, you would see him react just like the receiver. Now it's like he's waiting to see what's happening. Like, his reactions are basically saying, I can't believe this ball is actually coming, and I can't get there. So when you see that happen, it's like, dude,
get him out of the game.
Yeah, and I think that's what actually was going on. And Buster Screen's injury kind of put a halt to that, because he was actually covering tight end last week before the Cleveland game. So, when Buster got hurt, he went back to having to go play corner again and play on. I don't understand why he was actually covering Pryor, because Pryor is the only guy that actually had. My thing is Marcus Williams actually should have been covering him if Buster Screen wasn't there. And Darrell should have been on the secondary guy, because his reactions are right now just way too slow to be covering the top guy on the other team. And honestly, this week I hope he's not on Landry, because it's going to be a long day if he is. Even with Tannehill being the quarterback that Tannehill is, if you put pressure on Tannehill, he will throw interceptions. But I just wouldn't want to see the Jets start out taking that chance.
So at what point does this fall on Todd Bowles to hold these players accountable for what they're putting on film? I don't care if his name is Darrelle Revis. All right, he's got the reputation, but if you look at what he's putting on film right now, he's not giving the effort. You see guys running right by him. He's not sticking his head in there. So at what point does Todd Bowles have to actually make a move here and possibly put Revis on the bench?
I think that move was made the previous week. Like I just mentioned, we saw, Darrell covering tight end. He wasn't covering receivers. So, but again, Screen's injury kind of called that a little bit.
Back this week.
Yeah, and hopefully Buster's back full go, and we'll see him covering Landry, and Darrell back in a secondary coverage scheme. So, but when injuries happen, a guy like Darrell, being put back for a second, and then he has to come back to the forefront. But Todd, I'm pretty sure is taking some heat. This guy's going to be in the locker room questioning the things that he's doing. Yeah, they won't question him publicly, but they will. And Todd is actually a coach that I'm pretty sure the guys can go to and talk to and about stuff like that. He's not a coach that is so egomaniacal that he won't listen to guys, but he does have an ego and wants things to work his way. His schemes, he wants them to work, but it's just that he has to see to put guys in the right position. And right now, Darrell is not the guy that he's putting in a position to be covering the number one receiver on the other team.
Ed?
Listen, as far as I'm concerned, I'm done with that. He's got to pull him out of the game, or he's got to play better. It's one or the other. I mean, I am glad that Buster Screen is obviously practicing. We've seen that he's practicing, so he is our best defensive player. But I really believe that rubs off on guys when they whether it's Darrell Revis and his name, you got to play on the field, and I believe that takes away from guys get disheartened. This guy's out there. There's a kid Roberts that plays his butt off that we picked up. And he's not getting any reps because of what's going on there. So I feel that they do need to address that, or he's got to get out of the game. It's that simple. But I feel good about what's going to happen this week. I do.
Awesome.
I really do.
So as we start to wrap up, this wouldn't be a show if we didn't talk about the quarterbacks a little bit. Angry Fitz, of course, comes out 3 of 14. Not his best showing, but he did pick it up a little bit in the second half. Joe Namath made some comments that he thought Fitz should have been benched. I thought Fitz shouldn't have even started this game. But at this point, is Fitz pretty much the guy for the rest of the season?
There's no doubt about it. I mean, they're gonna sink and swim. They've made it evident they're gonna sink and swim with Fitz. I listen. You know how I feel about. I think Fitz is a good quarterback. So I told you during the game when he hit Quincy on the bomb.
Yep.
He threw that ball well.
Oh, he did. He did.
And he threw the ball well to Robbie Anderson over the deep. Listen, I like that he's spreading the ball around. I think he's getting a little more comfortable with some of the guys. I think he realizes finally that he can't keep going to number 15. I mean, it's a little ridiculous. Plus, these guys are players, and they're able to make plays, which is evident. So, I see some positives here that, what's very underrated right now is the offensive line. The offensive line is playing well, man. And I'm talking about young guys. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about the kid, the center, Wesley Johnson. I mean, he's playing well. Igelana is playing well. Brian Winters is finally getting recognized. I mean, I called it early in the preseason. I mean, Brian Winters is he. You know what he is? Rob, he's like Sheldon is on the defense. He's a nasty, he's rotten, and I love it. So, I like what I'm seeing the positives of. There's a lot of positives on this team. And I think the Dolphins are the remedy to really make a move here. If we don't turn the ball over Sunday and we play a clean game, we're going to win that game because they're going to stop the run. They're going to stop. That's what we do. We stop the run. What's the game plan? The kid's going to run the ball and they're going to get going? No, stop him and make Tannehill beat you. Make Tannehill beat you. I believe that we're going to win the game, so we'll see.
Well, like Ed said, right now it's Fitz, sink or swim. I think, barring injury, he's going to be the guy until, it's said whether the team makes the playoffs or not. So, and at that point, I think if the team gets knocked out of the playoff race, then it's probably going to be a point right now at that point where you see Petty or Hackenberg. But for now, it's Fitz, full steam ahead, and we're just going to see what happens. If he limits the turnovers and continues to spread the ball around, it's a good look for the team. And I think that's the biggest thing. He, like Ed just said, he can see now that he doesn't have to, sit on Brandon and wait for Brandon and wait for Brandon and wait for Brandon on every route to get open. There's guys that are actually open on, the plays that are called if he actually just reads the coverage and takes what's given to him. But, going forward, that's a big if. That's Fitz. He's one of those guys that, if he gets locked in on something, he'll continue to try to ride that horse, and it's not always a good thing. But we'll see. Hopefully he's learned over the past few weeks that he has to actually spread the ball around. There are other guys that can make plays on his team.
And my biggest concern just moving forward is that the Jets are just going to hang around just long enough where we'll finish 8-8, 9-7, miss the playoffs again, and then we head into next season not knowing about Petty, not knowing about Hackenberg.
Well, I don't think you're not going to get to that point because they're either going to play better now and have an actual shot, or they're going to get knocked off. You know, the Patriots will come in here and blow them out, and it'll be history. I mean, it's that simple. So, you know, I think there's some positive. Screen coming back is huge. I like the way the offensive line is playing. I like that he's getting these kids all involved now. He's starting to get these young guys involved. Let's see what happens here.
Final prediction for Sunday.
I think we're going to beat the Dolphins. I think we're going to beat them good, actually. I'm hoping if they don't turn the ball over, I think they're going to play the best game of the year. I do. I feel that way. You know, it helps. Like Rob says, you know, Fitz ain't got the arm, but in Miami, we got no problems yet. So let's see what goes on. Hey, listen, I'm pulling for them. If they lose to Miami, well then, by all means, I want Petty in there. Put him in. It's over for Fitz. It's over for Fitz. So this is, the next 2 weeks are going to tell you, if they lose one of these two games in the next 2 weeks, you're going to see. The crowd's going to go nuts if they don't put they're going to have to put the kids in. We got to see what we got for next year. So let's hope that we can do this. We'll see.
Rob, final prediction.
I think this is over the last few weeks. I haven't been too optimistic, but this is a week I actually feel optimistic about them getting the win. I think they can go down to Miami and put up some points. And as long as the defense actually shuts down the run, which is the biggest thing that they're actually going to have to do this week, and putting Tannehill at the helm to try to force him to win the game. I think that's a good shot. The Jets come out. I see the score something like 24-17.
Sounds good. All right, and that's going to do it for us. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. For myself, Ed, and Rob, we'll see you again next week, right back here at MetLife Stadium when the Jets will be 4-5.
Go Jets.
Do Hooters girls make your beer stay colder and your wings taste better? Do they make the greatest month of football ever even greater? Yes. Yes, they do.